Just based on the thumbnail of this video, people are gonna be like, I do not want to watch a girl doing her makeup. But the video is not about the makeup. The video is about hearing from God. Hi, I'm doing my makeup. Since I'm out here, I was actually planning to do a video about how to hear from God in Santa Barbara, and I was gonna do it in the morning. But we're here, and I'm doing my makeup, and I know this may not be everyone's content, like makeup and like watching me talk about that, but I don't really care. I'm actually coming out of a season. I'm here in Santa Barbara to celebrate a friend, but 2 days ago I actually quit my job, and so hearing from God is extremely important in this season, and just like hearing what he wants me to do, what he's wanting me to say, where he's wanting me to go. And I think sometimes we can really overcomplicate it. And by saying that, I mean like hearing from God, it's like, okay, we have to like hear some like loud bang, like how Samuel in the book of Samuel, how Samuel got called by God and he was like, Samuel, like it's not always like that. And it is like that for some people, but like to think that God is such a one-dimensional God and the only way he can communicate to us is by like loud banging and thrashing and clanging, it's like, I think we've missed the point. Putting God into that box of like, we only hear from God when he's like super loud, I think goes to us putting God in the box of humanity. Humans are very loud. When we want someone to listen to us or we feel like we're not being heard, we get louder, right? We like exert our volume, we exert our control over people. But imagine if we serve a God who's completely counter to that culture that we've created. And he's actually completely counter to anything that we've created, right? Humans go high, God says go low. Follow the world, he says follow me. And so he's always been this very counter God. And so I think even in the perspective of like, okay, and if my makeup gets messy, that's not what the video is about. We also have to think like in terms of hearing God, how would we actually hear God in this noisy world? In a noisy world, why would God also be noisy? God may also just be quiet. And in order to meet him in that place, we also have to model him. And the whole thing about being a follower and a believer of Christ is doing what he would do. Jesus did not like the crowd. Like he did, but it's like I remember there's this like, I think it was in John or one of the Gospels, but it talks about Jesus like after he did like a big miracle, it's like so many people were drawn to him and trying to talk to him and trying to do all these things. And he was like, I actually need a minute. And we find Jesus like not wanting that attention, and he actually quietly walked to go spend time with God. And so for anyone who's just needing like a simple like, okay, how do I get, hear from God, you need to get quiet. And even leaving my job and having to get to that point, my life was very noisy. It's been a very challenging 6 months, but by the grace of God, I've been able to find like purpose and, peace in my quiet time actually. And that's why it's called that. I think for those who like struggle figuring out, like, okay, I'm hearing from God, but it's like, okay, my quiet time is this or that. I think also changing your idea of what quiet time maybe looks like. Sometimes quiet time is actually worship for me. And like, I don't touch my Bible. I don't even pray. Like, I just worship. Sometimes it's just Bible. Sometimes it's Bible and prayer. Sometimes it's Bible and worship. And you can really have fun with God and like not put him in this box of what we think that he should look like or what our quiet time should look like based on others. Once we start to do that, we lose the beauty of who God is. And he's such a dynamic God. I mean, look at creation. Like trees are so different from birds or different from dolphins or different from humans. It's like you're missing the entire point of creation. Hearing from God could also be, spending time in community and hearing from like your friends and like what they're saying and how he's operating in their life, whatever it is. But just changing your perspective and even asking him like, God, how do you want me to hear from you? Do you want me to hear you through people, or do you want me to hear you through worship? Do you need me to pray right now? I can't, of course, forget the fundamental. The fundamental is to be able to hear the word. You actually have to know the word. It's like speaking English. Or speaking Spanish, for example. I'm trying to learn Spanish right now, and I only speak English. And in order to understand Spanish, if someone was speaking to me in Spanish, I literally could not understand that language unless I've taken the time to actually learn that language and learn the foundation and how it's built and the consonants and the vowels and how it sounds on the tongue and rolling your R's and the verbs and all of these things. And you're like, Cassidy, like this is like nothing about this is practical. Like hearing from God Practically, reading more of your word will actually show you how to do that. The more you learn the language of God, the easier it will be to actually hear him either verbally, through scripture, through word, through prayer, through fasting, etc. Let him show you what it's going to look like for you in that season. Be open. Be open to people. Be open to worship. Anytime you're listening to, a podcast, or you're listening to a video, or you're listening to your friend speak, or even people who don't even know God and don't even know they're being used by him, like literally looking at, like God is literally reflected in every single thing. There's something that says in Psalms, it's like the sun, the moon, the stars, they all reflect his glory. And it's just like, be open to like what it could be. It may not be his loud, Cassidy. Like, he may not do that in this season. Most importantly, if you're really trying to hear from him and he speaks, are you really going to continue seeking after you've gotten what you asked for? So it's like, now that I've left the job and I felt like I heard him tell me that, and then things over time have confirmed why I've left, why I'm leaving, and I'm like, I literally cannot imagine my life if I stayed in this job. But now that it's gone, it's like, now more than ever, I actually need to know how to hear from him. And so one thing I'm going to be doing this June is just like praying, like praying the house boots down, because I need to know like what he's trying to get me to learn and get me to see that he couldn't show me when I was in that job. Now I'm like completely like, I'm really interested to see how he's going to show me. He's like, okay, now that you know like how easy it is to hear from me, now I'm going to be speaking, and I need you to write everything down. I need you to journal. I need you to pray. I need you to fast. All of these things I'm going to be downloading in you. And for the last 6 months, he's been downloading so much into me. And so now he's shown me how to do it. He's like, this is how you do it, but now I need you to get good at it. My encouragement for everyone watching this and just in your journey is to find that sweet spot of how he's speaking to you in that season, and then once you find that, do exactly as he tells you to do. If you don't, he still loves you, but do exactly as he tells you to do. And once you do that, be prepared for him to start to sharpen your skills in hearing from him, because in these last days, that is going to be of the utmost importance. You're going to have to know that it's God's voice and no one else. So that's how I hear from God, and I hope that will help you guys. Again, it was not about the makeup, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope I look. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. And I think the biggest thing is that we need to just change our perspective of like what hearing from God looks like. He's not like any other God, honestly. My facial spray. It's just, I need to set my face. Part of me is like,